You're welcome. I bet you're wondering, why is she saying you're welcome? Because when I teach you how to make your food taste way better and save you about 20 bucks, you're gonna thank me. Today on You're Welcome, we are learning how to make broth. It's a really simple thing to do. All you do is save your vegetable scraps, and if you are using any kind of animal bones in there, put them in a bag, put them in the freezer until you're going to make it, and chunk it in a pot and boil it, and then you have broth. Plain and simple. Now, some people get confused between the difference between stock and broth, and really, if you're not cooking in a five-star hotel or restaurant or something like that, the main difference is one, you put seasoning in while you're making it, and the other you don't. You just season your food as you are cooking with it. That's one of the simple things. Sometimes they say you use bits of meat or pieces of meat, and that can tell you the difference between the two. But for the regular everyday household cook, you can use the word interchangeably and people will know what you are talking about. Now, organic broth can be a little expensive depending on where you get it from and who made it. It can be anywhere from $2.99 for 32 ounces right on up to about $3.99. I've seen it as high as $4.99. And that starts to add up after a while, especially if you eat a lot of grains or if you make a lot of soups like my family tends to do. So since you already have that organic produce, I'm going to teach you how to get one more use out of it before you put it in the compost bin. All right, so let's go to the kitchen. So this is one of my broth bags. I just save the scraps from the food as I'm cooking and prepping. What I'm not going to eat gets put in here and stored in the freezer until I'm ready to make some broth. And as we know, broth makes everything better. So the next thing you're going to do is fill up your pot with some good quality water. You can see I have a chicken carcass in there along with all of the vegetables that are going to be going into my broth. So there's purple cabbage, there's red onions. Even though it looks purple to me, it's called a red onion. There are garlic hulls in there, mushroom stems, I think that's some bell pepper, some spinach, and some cilantro. So all of that is going to mingle to make a really wonderful flavor. Then you just put the top on and you let it come to a boil. I usually boil my broth for about an hour, longer if there are bones in there, and then I simmer it for another hour or two. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to strain my broth. You may have noticed that I don't put any seasonings in my broth, and that's because I'm going to be using it to cook, and I want it to take on the flavors of whatever I'm cooking and not have to worry about having too much salt or other seasonings. So up next here, I'm just gonna shake this out to get all of my broth. And now, once you have this, you can store your broth and use it to cook anything where you would have used water. Now you're gonna use broth. So it's great for tamales and soups and all kind of grains. And speaking of soups, Westerners, your miso will stop tasting like dishwater if you use a broth. I promise you that's how it was done traditionally with some fish stock, and it tastes better that way each and every time. So right here, now you can see that we've got 6 quarts, well almost 6 quarts of good quality broth to use. So I hope you found that broth lesson very valuable. If you did, please spread this video far and wide, show it to some people so they can quit spending all their money on broth and go do some fun stuff. It's really easy to make. You're already bought those vegetables, you might as well get another use out of them, especially if you bought organic. That way you're getting more bang for your buck as well, and you're going to be getting more nutrients, and the best of all, your food is going to taste phenomenal, especially if you've been using water for your miso. Don't do that anymore. That's nasty. All right, y'all, so I hope you found this helpful. Remember to comment and tell me what other things that you do in the kitchen to make your dollar stretch a little bit farther. Tell me how you use your broth, and subscribe, and don't miss out on the good times. And I hope that you enjoyed this. Oh, and also, you're welcome. Are you throwing up? Please don't throw up. I want to clean that up.